Thank you, Sax. Well, their owner may have designs on Wembley, but Fulham's focus remains firmly on the Premier League and trying to avoid a trip there in the playoffs in a month's time. Slavica Kanovic has underlined second place is Cardiff's to lose, but the mindset of his players must be better now than it was midway through the second half of the game at Pride Park on Tuesday, when Cardiff looked certain to move 4 points clear of them. Their late collapse means it's game on again, which puts Swansea born and bred Chris Coleman in an interesting position here tonight. He also played a major part in Fulham's progress as both a player and manager during the Al Fayed era, but whatever his history, you doubt that Sunderland would be good enough under any manager to cause an upset here. Planning for life in League One has already become the priority, but even that's become a saga, with 70 grand a week players not mentally fit to play in this game, and Coleman really admitting he has no idea what he has to work with or whether he'll be there at all next season. It is a real mess, in contrast to Fulham, who have shown at times that small can be beautiful in the Championship. A reminder of the two sides: Bettinelli in goal for Fulham, Fredericks, Odoi, Riemann target, McDonald, Kenny and Johansson in midfield, Piazon, Mitrovic and Sessegnon in attack. Three changes for Sunderland: Catamol, McManaman and McGeady drop out. Catamol and McGeady are injured. McManaman is on the bench. The youngsters, Ethan Robson, Ovie Ejaria and Joel Osorio come in. It's Steele in goal, Jones, Kone, O'Shea and Wilson, Honeyman, McNair and Robson in central midfield, Ejaria and Osorio in the wide areas, Fletcher on loan from Middlesbrough in attack. And on the bench for Sunderland is 16-year-old Barley Mumba, who was taken out of his comprehensive school to come to this game today, and he has an opportunity to make his league debut for Sunderland, a massive club who are currently sliding down the divisions. Ray Houghton, it's got the feeling of a really big night here for Fulham.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We talked about the Sunderland support. They've come here in the thousands to support the team, even though they've been relegated. But it's the Fulham support, the home support. They'll be hoping for a big performance this evening. Pressure's on them, Nigel. Simple as that. I mean, when you look at the league position, Fulham currently in third position compared to Sunderland bottom of the league. It should be an easy 3 points for Fulham. That isn't always the case in football.
It's the penultimate week of the regular season here on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, and Fulham get this game underway, playing from right to left in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks. Sunderland in all sky blue, and here is the man on loan from Newcastle, Alexander Mitrovic, back towards McDonald again. Ream, the American, with the ball forward down the left, looking for Sessegnon. Back towards Ream again as the heavy rain before kick-off has now eased off, but Kenny slips and slides into a challenge and may have got a bang on the hip there, and Peter Banks, our referee, will allow treatment for the Fulham captain, who looks to be in some trouble.
Well, he looks in a bad way at the moment. I mean, the only good thing is moving his legs around. But what happened was, Janssen played the ball into him, and his feet went from under him, just because of this, the surface is a bit wet at the moment. And then there was one of the players that came in from
Robson.
I think it was Robson that came in there. It might have just caught while he was on the floor. So I don't know if it's his groin, his back. I mean, he's holding. He was holding his back initially. Now he's lying on his back at the moment. The physios, because there's two of them just looking over him at the moment. They look worried. I've just seen the manager telling one of his substitutes to go out and warm up, and have a good warm up as well. Don't go through the motions, because you may be called into action quite quickly in this game. That'll be a huge loss for Fulham.
Well, it looks like the right hip or the right groin, which is the problem here for Tom Kearney. And as Ray said, both legs just went from underneath him on the very soggy turf here, and it was an accidental challenge involving Ethan Robson. And Kearney eventually comes back to his feet and very gingerly tests that right thigh.
I'll tell you what it will be, Nigel. It's actually, I think it's his left, the way he's looking. I mean, he's holding his left side as well. I think he's just saying to the physio, my body weight went one way, and then obviously done the splits at the same time, and I think hence that's why he had the problem. You'll know within 2-3 minutes if he's going to be alright or not, because the first time he goes to sprint, you'll know if he's going to be okay.
Well, Kenny was absent for much of the autumn, and it's no coincidence that was during Fulham's weakest part of the season results-wise. 22 matches unbeaten. They were 18 points behind Cardiff City at the start of their run. If they win tonight, they will be 2 points clear of them. Cardiff, of course, are at Hull tomorrow. We'll have news of that game and all the other goals as they go in with Adrian Durham in Matchday Live. And on the final day, Fulham go to Birmingham, which could still be a tricky game. Birmingham may need points to survive. And it's Cardiff City at home to Reading as Mitrovic goes down, challenged by O'Shea on the halfway line, and it will be a free kick here for Sunderland, for Fulham rather. And Chris Coleman stands on the edge of his technical area. Interesting day for him. People have been saying he won't be too keen to do Cardiff City a favour as a former Swansea City man, Swansea-born Welsh international, but for reasons of pride, he will want his Sunderland team to show up here tonight.
Yeah, he will. Kearney's still not right. You know, he's not moving freely at all at the moment. That'll be a slight concern for Fulham, as we said, such a big player.
Doy with the ball forward, looking for the scampering Fredericks down the right, and it's over his head and out of play for a goal kick.
Well, in this division, he's as good as anyone at doing that, Fredericks. I'm not always so assured about his defensive capabilities, but going forward, he makes some unbelievable runs in behind the fullback. So Wilson over that left-hand side is going to have to keep his eye on that. You know, not be able to go in too close to his two centre-halves, Coney O'Shea, all the time. He's going to have to keep his width over that left back position and watch for the runs of Fredericks in behind.
4 minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. Fulham 0, Sunderland 0. And credit to the Sunderland fans who are here in such great numbers with their side already relegated. There must be well over 1,000, maybe 1,500 fans in the Putney end away to our left-hand side. As Targett plays it down the line on the left, looking for Johansson for Fulham. He is quickly challenged by Robson, 21-year-old, making his 5th start of the season in the Championship for Sunderland. He concedes the throw-in. Targett works it inside towards the Belgian Dennis Odoi, who is another defender who is very comfortable moving forward. Now Fredericks out on the right-hand side, infield towards Kenny. Mitrovic again on towards Piazon, who tries to affect the dummy to play in Fredericks down the right-hand side, but again the ball spins out of play in front of the Riverside stand here at Craven Cottage, and it will be a throw into Sunderland.
Well, we're 5 minutes into the game, and quite to say that Sunderland's hardly mustered an attack so far. I mean, it's all been Fulham in possession of the ball. They look so assured, don't they, Nigel, the way that they're passing it around. Very, very confident, and just see if Sunderland can muster Anthony Jara there, trying to pick out a Soro over this right-hand side with a crossfield ball. It's far too much on it. When you look at, you know, what they've got up front, you know, they look very young, don't they? There's not much experience there, and they're up against certainly with Ream and Odoi. The two centre halves have been around, and Odoi's been a right back when I remember. He's not always been a centre half, has he?
No, but he's been shifted into that position with Fredericks back in the team. But there always does seem to be a potential mistake in the Fulham back four as well. They were pressed on a number of occasions by Brentford in the most recent home game here, and as you said before the game, Brentford equalised in the last seconds, but they deserved at least a point from that game.
At least a point. They were very, very good. I mean, there's no doubt in the 22-game unbeaten run that Fulham's been on in the league. There have been games, where they might have been beaten, but such as their determination, desire, they've got themselves out of certain situations or got points when they probably shouldn't have done.
Kone plays it back towards Jason Steele, wearing all black, the Sunderland goalkeeper. It's controlled by Ashley Fletcher inside the centre circle, but he's brushed off it by Odoi, and now McDonald finds Kearney. It's into the midfield area once again. Mitrovic lays it wide to the far side and gets warm applause from the home crowd. Craven Cottage not entirely full. The neutral end away to our left does have a number of empty black and white seats in it, but most of the home areas are filled for this game.
There's still people coming in, Nigel. I'm just looking down the gangways. There's still fans coming in, and maybe getting here a little bit late. There's just great contrast between the two centre halves for either team. Fletcher, ball played up to him, didn't hold on to it at all. Brushed off it, as you said, far too easily. When it goes up to Mitrovic, the other side, how strong is he in possession? Just holds them off quite comfortably.
Kenny coming forward now, down the left-hand side for Fulham. Setting on in support, in towards Mitrovic, who thought about the right foot shot. Eventually it's Robson with an important challenge, and then it's cleared away on the far side, and Sunderland will try and break. And it was Paddy Paddy McNair looking to burst over the halfway line, but Kevin McDonald caught up with him, slid in to make the challenge, and it's a throw into Sunderland on the far side.
Took too long, Mitrovic, didn't he? I mean, when it came in, his control was good initially, and it was as if he was waiting to get an angle, if you like, to get your shot away, but it was a very good challenge coming in from young Robson in midfield. Read the situation very well.
7.5 minutes played on TalkSport 2, 0-0. Fulham fans still making their way into the stadium. There were problems on the Piccadilly line earlier on heading into Hammersmith, which may result in a number of latecomers here as Bettinelli comes outside his penalty area to clear downfield, and it will just drift out of play for a throw-in to Sunderland. And Chris Coleman, of course, was a Sunderland player here during the Kevin Keegan era. His playing career was ended prematurely by a car crash, but he was the manager at the age of 33 in the Premier League. And despite many people believing he would fail, he finished 9th in his first season. And although a number of big names were sold during his time in charge, he got Fulham playing the sort of football the home team appreciated.
You know, I played with Chris at Crystal Palace, and if you'd have said to me Chris was going to be a manager, I would have laughed at you. He never really showed any great interest in that.
I think he was forced into it, really.
Yeah, he was. He very much so, because of the injury that he had. But you look at him now, you know, he's adapted so well. Had a fantastic time with Wales, obviously getting him to the semi-finals of the European Championship a couple of years ago. But it was a big test for him, and I admire him for taking it on, you know, because he could have sat with Wales for another couple of years and, you know, maybe got them into a big championship again, or maybe not. But he decided he wanted to get involved in the day-to-day running of a football club, and he took on Sunderland, and even it was too big for him.
Well, he got more money to go to Sunderland than he was on with Wales, which may have been a factor, but I remember we were live on the air on a Friday night when it was announced he'd taken the Sunderland job, and eyebrows were raised then. And did he really know what he was taking on? I suppose that's a question he may be asking himself over the summer. 9 minutes played, Fulham 0, Sunderland 0 here on TalkSport 2. And unsurprisingly, Fulham have made most of the running so far. Fredericks infield towards Kearney, who seems to have shaken off the initial problem with his hip. Back towards Odoi. Reema's offering the width down the left-hand side. Odoi will head in that general direction and now pings a long diagonal looking for Sessegnon, but it's over his head into the stand on this near side, and it will be a throw-in to Sunderland.
Yeah, I think the offside flag went up anyway. They're sitting on the far side. You know, put your flag up when they reached Sessegnon. It takes too long to get the ball out there. You know, it's nice and neat from Fulham, but they're playing in front of Sunderland. You know, some say they're going to have to try to get in behind them. You know, and that's what you've got to try. And, well, what they'll be looking to do is get Sunderland higher up the field to leave that space to play the ball into, and then utilise the pace in this Fulham side.
Target on loan from Southampton. Plays it forward looking for Mitrovic, but it's hoofed away by O'Shea. And now McNair plays it forward towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's helped on by Honeyman. Back towards McNair again, who was looking to burst inside Fulham territory, but Fulham will clear. But now McNair has it again. And now it's worked wide towards Osorio, who comes infield up towards the edge of the penalty area. It's a promising run from him, but eventually he is crowded out, and it will be cleared away by Fulham up towards the halfway line. And Kearney has found an avenue of opportunity here to release Sessegnon down the left. He's got Piazon coming forward on his outside, but it's infield towards Johansson, who will try and break into the penalty area, but the challenge will come in eventually. And very quickly it's played forward by Honeyman. Fletcher will chase down the left-hand side. He will get there before Odoi. Ajaria will try and make a run into the penalty area, but it's laid back towards the edge of the box now. Honeyman plays it square. Osorio fires in the shot, and he dragged the effort, appeals for a deflection, and in the end, it has gone behind for a corner.
I wasn't too sure about it, I've got to be honest with you. I thought he was just a really poor strike from Osorio, wasn't it? Ball over the top. You can see Odoi thought the goalkeeper Bettinelli should come for it. I don't think so. I mean, the ball was always angling away from the goal. I think Odoi should have gotten it a lot quicker. Fletcher played it back into the path of Honeyman, who squared it for Osorio. Took a shot on. I don't think it came off anyone. It just went harmlessly wide of the target. Not quite sure what the referee seen there.
Joel Osorio, 19 years of age today, with the first Sunderland effort on goal. The corner comes to nothing. It was volleyed clear by Kearney at the near post, and now it's played forward in the direction of Honeyman on the far side. Appeals for offside from Fulham, but in the end it's a throw into them, level with their own penalty area out on their right. And TalkSport 2 has teamed up with Sky Sports to tell you all about the dedicated Sky Sports football channel with football from around the globe, including the EFL, SPFL, La Liga and more. Feel it all with Sky Sports. And Sunderland just feeling their way into this game now with 12 minutes played on TalkSport 2. It's goalless and neither goalkeeper has had a shot to save. Mark Wilson with the throw in into the feet of Robson, but eventually the move breaks down, and here is McDonald charging forward over the halfway line, look to find the run of Mitrovic to his right, but the pass just goes straight into the Fulham technical area, and Wilson will take a throw in. And Mark Wilson, signed from Stoke City, could be another player on his way out of the Stadium of Light at the end of the season. As McDonald lunges in with a challenge, and there was a Sunderland player down. I think it's Honeyman on the far side. I'm not sure whether the referee's given a throw-in or a free kick, but Sunderland will have possession anyway.
Yeah, it's been a bit spell for Sunderland. They've started to get a foothold in the game. They're growing in confidence, but as far as Fulham's concerned, I think that injury to Kearney's actually affected them somewhat. You know, they haven't really got the passing game at the moment. They are very reliant on Sessegnon, down this left-hand side. And I think Chris Coleman just took one in the face. And then years gone by, he would have brought that down on his chest, Chris, but obviously he's that bit older now.
That's the pressure.
Not as mobile as he once was.
Here is Jones on this near side, the Sunderland right, stepping away from Sessegnon, and it's a good ball forward from him, and there's an opportunity for Ajaria to try and find Asoro, and the young Swede has wriggled his way past target, heading towards the corner flag on this near side, the Sunderland right, but in the end target recovers, and it's a throw into the Black Cats.
Yeah, I think there's an avenue for Sunderland to get forward. Asoro over on this right hand side, he'll come on as a substitute against Burton Albion. I'll tell you what, he's got great trickery. He's just got to find an end product. The occasions he had it at the weekend, he never really done enough with that final delivery into the box.
Jones with a cross into the penalty area, straight down the throat of Bettinelli, as the Sunderland fans get out a couple of beach balls in the away end, away to our left, as Piazon, on loan from Chelsea, comes forward for Fulham. It's back towards Kearney, who tries to find Johansson, but the passing radar has not quite been right for Fulham so far, and it's over the head of the Norwegian, out of play for a Sunderland throw-in.
Yeah, really poor ball from Kearney, and it was an easy ball. It was a cross-field ball to pick out Johansson over this left-hand side, just overhit it. You can see now he's still feeling his back, so I don't think he's quite right at the moment. It's something I'm sure that the Fulham bench are looking at. But when Piazon picked that ball up just a few moments ago, he had runners with Sessegnon and with Fredericks. He decided just to check back. So he's just playing what you would call safe football, rather than looking to be, more proactive in possession of the ball and look for that killer ball that's going to give you a chance to get a goal.
Well, Lucas Piazon is often not the most popular player among the Fulham fans. They would prefer the pace of Neskins Cabano or Floyd Aite in the starting lineup, but neither available for this game, as it's another poor ball played forward, this time by Ream, beyond Kearney, and Asoro can bring it forward now for Sunderland. He's chopped down by Target, and it will be a free kick to Sunderland midway inside the Fulham half.
Yeah, they haven't really got going. I talked about this before, Nigel. You're up there, you know the importance of the game, and you get edgy, you get nervous, you don't play your natural game because you're worried about making mistakes. What happens if we lose tonight and Cardiff win tomorrow, they're up and we're in the playoffs? Instead of just going out there and playing the game on its merits, they're not. They're letting the occasion get to them. And in Sunderland, they're playing with freedom. I mean, they've got no problems. And for this free kick, they've got Coney up there alongside Fletcher and John O'Shea with McNair coming as well. So they've got plenty of height, this Sunderland side.
Honeyman with the free kick, an outswinger, nodded away by Mitrovic. Johansson miscontrols. Robson does well to win the ball in the air, links up with Ajaria, and now Honeyman slashes a high ball forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Leaping was McNair, and Fletcher with a volley, left-footed from the left-hand side of the penalty area, didn't make the most of the opportunity.
Well, his control was decent, wasn't it? He done well over that left-hand side. I think they were complaining there was a little nudge there from McNair on the back of one of the Fulham players. The referee didn't spot it, allowed play to continue. Good control initially from Fletcher. I've got to say, when he took the shot on, though, Nigel, he didn't really look that confident to me. He didn't look like someone who really believed he was going to score.
Ashley Fletcher on loan from Middlesbrough. It's his flick now, which almost releases Robson, but Piazon will gather for Fulham. Wide towards the far side, and Johansson, and here is Johansson once again. Piazon has Fredericks on the overlap providing the width, and Fredericks will burst into the penalty area, tries to cut it back looking for Kearney, but it's cut out well at the near post by a retreating Wilson, and it's behind for Fulham's first corner.
Why did he stop? You know, he's got in behind him, they've done everything right. Piazon's played a lovely ball in, drive towards the goal. He waited, he hesitated, which allowed Mark Wilson to get back. Then he tried to cut the ball back and just played it straight into the path of the Sunderland full-back. He should have drove at the end line there, then flashed the ball across the face of goal.
It's almost as if he was just looking to win the corner. Johansson will take it on the far side with the banks of the River Thames beyond him. Johansson driven high towards the far post. Sessegnon nods it back across the face of goal, and it's volleyed clear at the far post by Fletcher, and time seemed to stand still there as Sessegnon's header looped towards the far post before Fletcher reacted.
Well, Kevin McDonald's not happy because he feels Coney had his arms all around him. I mean, he's man-to-man marking him inside the 6-yard box, and he can't get away. He's actually got his arms around the Fulham midfield and not spotted by the referees or assistants. And I've certainly seen them given. McDonald's gone to the ground straight away. He's had a word with the referee, pleading with him to give Fulham a penalty. It was a decent corner. I mean, they picked out Sessegnon. He's probably one of the players you probably wouldn't be anticipating the ball going to, but he put it into a good area, and certainly McDonald was being held there by Coney.
Well, Robson has now been penalised for a challenge on Johansson, and it's a Fulham free kick, not too far away from the right corner of the Sunderland penalty area. Piazon and Johansson are over this. Every single Sunderland player, bar Joel Asoro, is back defending this free kick inside their penalty area. It's flighted in towards the far post, and it's a good header away. McDonald was rising, but Billy Jones got there first, and Jones was fouled there by McDonald, and it's a free kick to Sunderland. 19 minutes played, and it's still goalless.
I tell you, it's a really good defending from Jones over the far post. I think the referee tried to say that he fouled him, but I think that contact came after he headed the ball away. You know, so Jones got there initially, he's headed it out for it looked like a corner kick. McDonald's gone up, and I think the last minute just bumped into Jones as he was going over anyway, and the referee seen that as a foul.
Well, the Sunderland fans have come here determined to enjoy themselves. A couple of rubber rings and beach balls being hurled around in the away end at the moment. It's not really the weather for that sort of thing, but it's their final away match of the season. They welcome the championship winners Wolves next weekend. Wolves, of course, the last side to endure back-to-back promotions from the Premier League under Dean Saunders a couple of years ago, and Sunderland only the third team in the Premier League era. Swindon and Wolves the other two, but crucially they got promotion back to the Championship in their first season down in the third tier, and Chris Coleman is already talking about that as the only objective for next season, but he can't really start making plans until he knows what the budget is and who will have to play with.
Yeah, what his squad's going to be. I mean, that's going to be hugely important.
Kenny looks to pick out the run of target on this near side, but the ball just skids away from him on the wet turf, and it's a throw into Sunderland.
I think they'll be slightly disappointed for them with their opening 21 minutes in this game. Not really affected the game that often. You're looking at stealing the goal. He's had virtually nothing to do so far. I mean, they've had a lot of little tippy-tappy passes, if you like, Nigel, but nothing they've really got in behind. They've not really worked this back four of Sunderland so far.
The rain starts to tumble down again. We just had a shot on monitor of Martin Bain, the chief executive at Sunderland, as Adoy looks to find Sessegnon down the left-hand side, but it's swooped on well by Steele inside the penalty area. Chris Coleman has never spoken to Ellis Short, the Sunderland owner. Martin Bain is the line of communication, and of course he's the man who's been charged with cutting costs and trying to keep the levels of debt down. And really, the only way to do that will be to lose people on and off the field. It's going to be a very difficult summer for Sunderland, and it's often the people behind the scenes who are the ones who suffer. As Target comes forward now for Fulham. 21 minutes played. 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Target with a cross into the area, looking for Mitrovic. The boot was maybe raised, and John O'Shea's making that point towards the referee, although O'Shea's head was stooped down fairly low as he cleared away, and it's a throw into Fulham on this near side.
I think normally you get a free kick for incidents like that, or when the ball was played in. Mitrovic's foot was higher than you would like, anticipated, and O'Shea was quite brave going in with a header. I think more often than not you would expect to get a free kick for that. Not a particularly good ball in from target, a little bit too low.
Kenny infield towards Mitrovic, coming deep again midway inside the Sunderland half. McDonald finding Piazon. Everything to his right, including Johansson, who now comes in field, square with the penalty area. And Fulham, at the moment, are having one of those nights when they're just being a bit too intricate and a bit too deliberate around the Sunderland penalty area.
Well, not just that, Nigel. Look at the numbers behind the ball. There's 9 outfield players. It's only Fletcher that's staying upfield for Sunderland. The rest of them are getting back into a decent shape.
Kenny's released Fredericks down the right-hand side. Looks to go beyond Wilson and fires the shot in, which was turned aside brilliantly by Steele at the near post.
Well, I thought it was a cross, to be honest, initially, but there was so much power on it. Maybe he felt he had to take the shot on. He's 1v1 versus Wilson. Too much pace to get beyond him. I think he tried to angle that across the face of the goal. Keeper done well.
And now from the left-hand side, Johansson's low ball in is gathered by the Sunderland goalkeeper. And we've now gone beyond the midpoint of the first half as the rain continues to teem down here at Craven Cottage, but a good atmosphere inside this stadium as Steele clears downfield again. All the Fulham fans know what is at stake. They have to win this game to put the pressure back on Cardiff. If they lose, Cardiff could be promoted with a win at Hull tomorrow. Sessegnon though, down the left-hand side, he's got some space, but he goes for the early ball into the penalty area, and the huge hulking figure of Lamine Kone brings it clear, and then McDonald slides in with a challenge, which is a foul on this near side, and Sunderland will have the opportunity to regain their shape once again.
Yeah, it was wasteful, wasn't it, from Sessegnon there. They've worked it well down this left-hand side, and you're just looking for a decent delivery, and he scuffed his cross, didn't he? There was really poor effort, and then McNair's came out with a couple of challenges on McNair. First from Johansson, who caught him, and then as he was going over, McDonald came in and caught him after that as well, and Coney wasn't happy. He came flying out from the centre half position, went flying into a challenge, just missed Johansson, who gave him a little smile as he walked away from the incident.
24 minutes played on TalkSport 2, this part of our 500 games across the TalkSport network this season. More football than anyone else, culminating in the World Cup finals in Russia, when we will have commentary on every single game. And we will also have commentary on all of the playoff semi-finals and the 3 Wembley finals across TalkSport and TalkSport 2 following the end of the regular season. The Championship playoffs start in a couple of weeks on May the 11th, and those games will be over on TalkSport. As McNair, found by Assordo on the edge of the Fulham penalty area, tries to play the ball in field, but Fulham will now clear. Sessegnon finding the run of Piazon. He's got Fredericks steaming forward on the right-hand side. Fredericks now looking to use his pace into the penalty area, but the ball wasn't quite right, and as a result, Fredericks just pulled on the shoulder of Mark Wilson, gave him the opportunity to go down, which he did, and as a result, it's a free kick.
I don't know why the home supporters are so annoyed. It's a free kick, simple as that. I mean, the ball from Piazon just lacked a little bit of pace in it, which allowed Wilson to get back there. Just used his body strength to hold off Frederick. He was a bit frustrated and caught him and gave away the free kick. But that was a good break for him. And good refereeing initially, because there was a free kick higher up the field. He allowed Fulham to attack. Sessegnon picked it up, over to Piazon, ball through for Fredericks, and that's an outlet for him. Fredericks is an outlet up against Mark Wilson. If they continue to get balls down that side of the field, they will get chances.
Nearly 26 minutes played at Craven Cottage, and it's Fulham 0, Sunderland 0 on TalkSport 2. Don't forget Matchday Live with Adrian Durham. All the goals as they go in tomorrow, on what could be a very significant day up and down the Premier League and the EFL, as Sunderland try to come forward now. McNair's shot, though, on the edge of the penalty area is blocked, but they make a hash of the clearance. Here is Assordo down the right-hand side, finding McNair once again. Jones makes the run into the penalty area, but it was a poor ball, and Targett will shepherd the ball behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, just that lack of quality from Sunderland in that final third. They had a couple of opportunities to deliver balls into the box. I mean, Jones has made a great run from the right full-back position. He got in behind Targett. He was caught ball watching. And it wasn't a particularly difficult ball for McNair to pick him out with a pass, and just far too much on the ball, and the chance had gone for Sunderland.
Our commentary games tomorrow here on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock, live and exclusive national radio commentary on Crystal Palace against Leicester, and over on TalkSport at 5:30 it is Swansea against Chelsea, and the Sunday exclusive with Sags and Jim and Ray will be West Ham against Manchester City, a 2:15 start as Piazon is caught offside on the far side. And the next midweek we have commentary on all three of the main European ties, both of the Champions League semi-final second legs, including Liverpool away to Roma on Wednesday night, and Arsenal in the Europa League semi-final second leg at Atletico Madrid on Thursday. And we also have a Friday night offering from the Premier League next week. Saggers will be live with the team on the south coast with Brighton against Manchester United. 27.5 minutes played at Craven Cottage on a damp evening on the banks of the River Thames. Asoro with a sweet turn on the edge of the penalty area and a low shot which sneaks beyond Bettinelli, and Sunderland have stunned Fulham here. The side heading down to League One, maybe halting Fulham's progress towards the Premier League. 28 minutes played. Joel Asoro, 19 today. What a birthday present. Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
Well, look at the Sunderland fans, Nigel. We talked about their away form in recent weeks. You know, they've won one at Derby and they've had 2 draws as well. So it's not been that bad. There's less pressure on them. And it was just shown there where Target's got a problem, because he went past Target far too easily, so you knew there was something wrong with Target in that particular incident. But he's turned him well. Goalkeeper, I think, will be disappointed, Bettinelli in the goal, because I think he had a good view of it. He was 25 yards out, and it's not got high. It's gone across the surface of the grass, and he didn't really move his feet quickly enough, or got his right hand down to try and push it away, and it's nestled in the bottom corner, and all of a sudden Fulham are up against it.
Well, Neil Warnock told me he wouldn't be watching this game. He'll be catching up on episodes of The Crown on Netflix, but I bet he's watching now.
Don't always believe when Neil tells you. That's all it suggests.
He's telling me that football managers maybe sometimes embellish the truth.
Maybe sometimes, but he'll be fully aware of what's going on in this game. And let me tell you, after hearing that Sunderland have gone 1-0 up, he might even switch it on.
Well, if it stays like this, long way to go, of course. A win for Cardiff tomorrow, and they will be promoted. Fulham have to avoid defeat here to take the promotion race to the final day. But it's worth bearing in mind as well that Sunderland have given away 25 points from winning position so far this season, as Matt Target comes across towards this near side following treatment.
Well, then this run that Fulham have been on, they've beaten the last 22. In 15 of the games, Nigel, they've scored first. The last 15 games, they've scored first and been unbeaten. Well, they're up against it today. They're going to have to do something a little bit different now that they find themselves a goal behind.
Well, Sunderland have given away 9 points in the last 4 games from winning position, so they are a team who
they've got a good record against
often
Fulham,
lack belief, but they have a good record here. They've won their last 3, and often by a comfortable margin. They won here in the FA Cup 3 years ago by 3-1, and in their last meeting in the Premier League they won by 4-1 with a hat-trick from Adam Johnson.
And don't forget, the last time Fulham lost in the league was against Sunderland.
And Sunderland are coming forward again here. Ajaria showing some pace wide to the right-hand side, and Asoro. Ajaria continues his run into the penalty area. Asoro is in support. Ajaria with a low ball in, cut out at the near post by Ream. And how often do we see teams playing without pressure, already relegated, often cause surprises? But now Fulham look to respond with Johansson, finding Piazon, who cuts in field from the right-hand side. It's still Piazon up towards the edge of the penalty area, and his low left-footed shot scoots just wide.
Well, he's just having words there with Mitrovic, who felt he should have played the ball through to him rather than taking the shot on. But you know what, Johansson, when he broke through the middle there, Sessegnon made a great run, and it wasn't a very difficult pass to pick him out. It was a straight ball through, and he had the pace to get beyond Coney and John O'Shea. He never spotted him. Oh, in fairness, I'm going to take that back. I think he did spot him, but he didn't have the confidence to play the pass, so he went for the easy option over to the right-hand side. Piazon, he comes in field, and he got his shot away with his left foot, but never really troubled stealing the goal.
Well, the Fulham fans Very, very tense around us here at Craven Cottage now. In contrast, the Sunderland supporters really enjoying their evening away to our left-hand side. They came here to almost make light of the situation, but now they're seeing their team playing pretty well and overall deserving their lead because they made the most of the opportunity they created.
I've got to say, Fulham have got to be careful there. They're playing a high line when they're not anticipating the ball over the top, and it's just hands up and they're pleading they're going to be offside. I don't think it's great defending. It's not as if they're in a shape of a 4. They're there on that occasion. Reams a little bit deep in the other 3 defenders.
Sessegnon tries to flick, it doesn't come off. Here is Jones, who is strong enough to ride the challenge of the 17-year-old. Tries to twist and turn, but now he's given the ball away to Johansson, who can come forward now for Fulham. Square towards Sessegnon to his right. Now Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area, but O'Shea just ensures the ball spins away from the serve, and it's hacked clear by Kone, out of play on the far side for a throw-in.
Well, John O'Shea just had a word with Jones yesterday. Look, when you got that high up the field, just sort your feet out, pass to one of your teammates. Gave the ball away, he's caught out of position. Quite say Mitrovic was caught on his heels there. Sessegnon played the ball on his feet, didn't anticipate it at all.
32 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Fulham 0, Sunderland 1. Joel Asoro with the goal on his 19th birthday, but now Fulham have given the ball away and it's won back quickly. Here is Kenny on towards Sessegnon, who allowed the ball to run between his feet in a great position, and it spins behind for a goal kick.
He done something like that in the game against Millwall, where he didn't sort his feet out quickly enough, and the opportunity gone in the first half. And I don't think it was the worst ball from Kenny to him. He just didn't anticipate. In fairness, well, just looking at the replay, he actually slowed down slightly, just to gather it, and I think his foot just slipped on the turf. So yeah, I think we might be I'm doing him a disservice there, that it was easier than I thought. It was much more difficult. But that was another opportunity here. Jaria giving the ball away, taking too many touches, getting caught in possession, turnover. Fulham's at you as quick as you like, and that could have been an opportunity on this left-hand side there for Sessegnon.
And the ball from the goal kick goes all the way through towards Marcus Bettinelli, who has had his moments in a negative sense in the Fulham goal, even in the midst of this 22-match unbeaten run. And looking at the replay, he saw it, got a full hand to it, and didn't keep it out.
Yeah, but that's what I thought. I mean, we were quite away from it, but my first instinct was he should have done better. It didn't look like, it was that he couldn't get anything on. It looked like he could have, just stretched his hand a little bit more to get some purchase on it. He didn't, and it's just nestled in the bottom corner. Target's not running particularly well either. He looks like from that, maybe he had an injury when Asoro turned him for the goal, and I still don't think he's quite right. You watch his movement, he looks a little bit laboured in his movement. If I was Sunderland, I'd be getting the ball out here to Asoro and getting him 1v1 against the left fullback.
Robson does well to find Fletcher, but Adoy quickly wins it back for Fulham, and the home crowd here urging their team forward every time they get the ball, but there is real anxiety about their support as well. Here is Johansson, has both Target and Sessegnon on his outside, and it's Asoro who steps in and makes a decent challenge, and Johansson just lifted his leg to catch him as Asoro followed through there, and the referee spotted it, but is happy for play to continue. Now McDonald, who scored an excellent goal last week against Millwall, and Fulham had some difficult moments in that game, but rode their luck as Fredericks turns into trouble on the far side, and a combination of Honeyman and Wilson will try and get the ball clear, and Wilson scoops it up in the air to Honeyman before Robson launches it high up towards the halfway line, where Fletcher is fouled by Adoy.
It's interesting to see Honeyman's actually trying to double up now with Wilson. Obviously they've worked out where the threat is from Fulham down that right hand side with the pace of Frederick, so he's just trying to go out there, and what happened in Wilson is just dropping a little bit deeper, so he's giving himself a little bit more time to see the run, and he's in a better position to cover that. Where earlier on I think Honeyman was coming in quite close to the two other midfielders, Robson and McNair, and that was leaving gaps for Fulham to get down their right side, the left of Sunderland. 35 minutes played. Sunderland lead at Craven Cottage by 1-0 on a night when Fulham have to win to keep the pressure up on Cardiff. Johansson was caught on this near side, but Fulham are happy to play on as Kearney, who has never been the same following his injury in the first minute of the match, but he's got the space to find Sessegnon out on the left hand side. Target coming forward in support. Kearney continues his run. Was he caught by Kone? He was, and it's a free kick given by Peter Banks, and there's some afters there between Kone and Kearney.
And it's another challenge made by Coney, which was very unnecessary.
Yeah, well, he's on a mission today. I don't know if someone's upset him during the course of the last
Maybe he wants
few days.
next week off.
Yeah, but he just came over and just barged into Kearney, gave away the free kick, and then stepped all over him. And we tried to blame Kearney. Kearney wasn't happy with it at all. But this is where Fulham have got to make use of it. They're not the biggest team when you look at Fulham in comparison to Sunderland. You know, Sunderland look like they've got so many tall players back there: Fletcher, O'Shea, Coney, McNair, Wilson. You know, they should be able to deal with the delivery in from Fulham.
It'll be Piazza with the right foot or Target with the left. Out on the Fulham left-hand side. Adoy and Ream both forward. Target with the delivery. Nodded away at the far post. As far as Johansson, who was encouraged to fire it back in, but he was very deliberate with the control. The ball never quite sat down for him, and as a result, the shot was blocked by Robson.
Do you know what? Just there, the referee got in the way. The referee's position was dreadful. He should have got out of the way of it quite quickly. I think he got in Johansson's way there. I'll tell you, young Robson in midfield, he's not afraid to put his foot in, is he?
He's done well so far, and he's carried the fight to Fulham as Fletcher comes forward now. A mazy dribble up towards the edge of the penalty area, and he almost plays in Robson. It was Fredericks who had to go to ground and make the challenge before Sunderland eventually give the ball away on the far side. But in their haste to try and get back in this game, Fulham are looking vulnerable.
Yeah, they are. There's no question. I think if there was a bit more confidence about this, Sunday's offside.
Fletcher's offside as he looks to burst into the penalty area, and he knocks it into the back of the net anyway, but the flag came sometime previously.
That was a better line from Fulham. There were more of the thought. I think Target's down again. I said to you, he wasn't running free. They've seen that a little bit earlier on, and they might be forced into a substitution. We thought we were going to see Kearney coming off about 2-3 minutes into the first half, but certainly Target's struggling at the minute.
Well, the left boot is off already for Matt Target.
You never take it off, you know, Nige, because you get the swelling. That's one of the things, you know. Once it's contained within the boot, the swelling's still not as great. As soon as you take your boot off, your ankle just swells up. So the wrong thing to do there, and his physio might be telling him that, but he probably feels he's not able to continue at the moment, and you need to make a change.
Well, he's trying to work on the left foot without the boot on at the moment, the Fulham physio. 38 minutes played here at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Sunderland 1.
Have you seen much of Sunderland this season? I mean, I've only
saw a lot at the start, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen, you know, the highlights of the performances. You know, I watched the match against Burton Albion, where defensively, you know, they gave away a couple of goals in that game. But looking at this, you know, I take it this is an improvement on the performance tonight than it has been in previous matches.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think I saw them when they were playing reasonably well at the start of the season. They looked to be solid, they looked to have some purpose about them. Of course, they had Lewis Graben up top, who was a real presence and scored 12 goals in a struggling team in half a season, which was pretty good. And there's going to be a change here made, of course, by Fulham. Target will head straight towards the Cottage.
Well, it looks like Sessignon
on this near side.
Back, Nigel.
Yeah, and it's Abubakar Kamara who will be coming on. Frenchman signed from Amiens, so it will be a change in shape here. Kamara will go on the left-hand side.
No, I think he's got to go on. Look at Piazza's come over this left-hand side, and Kamara's looks like he's got to stay over the right-hand side.
Well, Piazza, of course, will always have to come in field now because he's naturally right-footed, and Sessignon will have to come from a good deal further back and also look after the threat of Asora.
Yeah, well, that'll be a good match-up because Sessignon, you know, obviously he's got all the plaudits this season for his attacking play for Fulham. I've seen him play at left-back on a couple of occasions, once here at home against Norwich, first game of the season, well, when Wilshut, who was playing for Norwich at the time, you know, he frightened him to death, to be honest. He was so physical against him, and Sessignon didn't enjoy it. Then we watched him play against Wolves, where once again he wasn't in a happy place when he was in that left back position. His form really improved when he played higher up the field, but now he finds himself back in that position up against Asoro. Asoro, I don't think we'll be able to take him on with pace, but with trickery, absolutely.
41 minutes played on TalkSport 2. A crucial game at the top of the Sky Bet Championship, and Fulham are trailing Sunderland as another long ball forward for Sunderland creates pressure. Fredericks with a hurried clearance. Ajaria will regather on the far side, the left, and now gets it back from McNair. Ajaria down the line for Wilson. Wilson midway inside the Fulham half, evades one challenge. It's infield towards the busy George Honeyman. Honeyman with a couple of tricks, and then eventually it spins out of play off a Fulham boot, and it will be a throw into Sunderland.
When you think about it, Nigel, started the season with Sunderland, and then when Chris Coleman took over, would you ever have thought your two central midfielders would have been Paddy McNair and young Robson? Because that's where they are now. I mean, that might have been his best pairing all along, or whoever the Sunderland manager was. And that's talked about, you were saying about youth. You know, it's not always advisable to put them in, because you never know what you're going to get from them. But sometimes you've got to see if they can, sink or swim, and what they're going to be able to do. And he just took one in the face there.
Ethan Robson just took one in the face,
and he didn't even
from Tim Ream. It was the ball in the face rather than a boot, we must say. And Robson just got on with it.
Yep. He looks like, when you look at him physically, he looks quite strong. He looks like he can get around the pitch. Good, I can see him talking to John O'Shea, organising. I'm going to pass Johansson on to you. So even at the tender age that he is, he looks like he's an experienced lad on the pitch as well.
Kenny steps in field looking for Mitrovic, who's been very quiet since Sunderland scored the goal. 2.5 minutes to play in the first half on TalkSport 2. McNair comes forward now down this near side. It's a swirling cross into the area. Odoi with a rather awkward clearance towards this near side. Ream hoofs it back into his own penalty area over his shoulder before McDonald is able to clear.
I tell you, it was a difficult one for Odoi there, because it was one of them ones, it's on his weaker side, it bounces just in front of you. It's that half volley, you're never sure where it's going to go. You're worried about, skewing it into your own goal. You've got enough purchase on it. But you're quite right about Mitrovic at the moment, Nigel. He's not really offering a great deal. This is probably the poorest he's played for some time for Fulham.
Ajaria on the edge of the penalty area, sidesteps a couple of challenges, goes down, and Peter Banks says no penalty. Osorio with a cross in, which is blocked by Sessegnon inside the area, and now Fulham will have to try and play their way out of trouble. And it's Piazon down the left-hand side, infield towards McDonald. Strong challenge comes in from McNair, but Piazon is able to ride it, but then gives it straight to Osorio. And Osorio now will look to attack McDonald down this near side, tries to step his way into the penalty area. Ream comes across with a challenge, and then it's a good clearance from him as he almost leaves the pitch to find Sessegnon. And Piazon, who is not really suited to being a defensive player in this sort of situation on this near side, he gives the ball away again. Here is Osorio now with a chance to cross for Sunderland. The acrobatics from Ajaria. It's headed away from Odoi, and now Fulham finally, after some sustained pressure, will try and break. Here is Kamara, wearing number 47, out on the Fulham right-hand side, on towards Fredericks, who steps into the penalty area, not across the face of goal, and Piazon will score the equaliser, to much relief all around Craven Cottage. Ryan Fredericks with the energy and the pace down the right-hand side. Sunderland unable to deal with the cross, and it's a tap-in for Lucas Piazon. And after an extremely awkward first half, Fulham will go in level, 1-1.
Yeah, we've got to say this has all come from Kamara's come on as a substitute. Done brilliant down the right-hand side. We talked about Fredericks. He's a willing runner from that right-back position, but it's always about his end product. He's played the ball across the face of the six-yard box. Still, the goalkeepers came out. He's got a little touch on it. I think he's actually taken it away from one of his teammates who might have been coming in to clear it. Mitrovic was in there as well. It fell to the feet of Piazon, and with his left foot, he just stroked it in to the back of the net to get Fulham back on level.
But should Sunderland have had a penalty before that?
Well, it was right on the edge of the box. I'm not sure it was in, but it was quite right. I thought it was a foul. That was my first reaction.
Well, Sunderland have really got one against the head there, but it's happened so often to them this season, so often recently.
Yeah, but you're right, it could have been a free kick, and I don't think anyone would argue against that, but you are allowed to defend from that moment on, and that's one of the problems they've got. It was too easy for Fulham to break the manner that they did, go the length of the field to finish the move off.
We're into 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Of course, the injuries for Kearney and Targett, who has gone off. Odoi now rising to win the ball, but it drops to Fletcher, and it spins into the path of Kamara, who had a role in the goal and he goes back towards Bettinelli. It's Fulham 1, Sunderland 1 here on TalkSport 2 with our EFL charity partner Prostate Cancer UK. One man is dying of prostate cancer every 45 minutes in the UK. Help us to stop it. Join Prostate Cancer UK on the march to Wembley this July. Sign up now at prostatecanceruk.org/football march. Across into the penalty area. It's cleared away by Sunderland, but now they're under pressure. Camarade again, but sliding in is McNair. And here is McDonald, wide on the far side, clips a high ball into the penalty area. It's beyond Mitrovic, and Billy Jones will cushion a header back towards his goalkeeper.
Once again, that's Fredericks getting forward down that right-hand side. He's a constant thorn as far as Sunderland's concerned. We're just going to have a look at that challenge again. What it was, right on the, well, it was right on the edge, when Ream just stuck his leg out there.
Well, if it's on the line, it's in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there was contact. Look, Ajaria was trying to beat too many players, and then in the end there was a coming together between him and Ream. I think the referee and the assistant could have seen that either way, to be honest. You know, give nothing or give the penalty. It was one of them really close decisions.
At that stage, Neil Warnock would have gone back to the crown. Here is Adoy coming forward now for Fulham, looking to take a lead, which on their first half showing they wouldn't really deserve. Kamada steps away from the challenge of Wilson on the lunge, hooks the cross into the area, it's just pulled back by Mitrovic. Kenny goes for goal. His effort was blocked. The home crowd appealing for a penalty, and I don't think Peter Banks could give one there.
Coney, the one who came in with the challenge. Kenny's still down at the moment. The home support not very happy with the referee at all there. What a great header back, wasn't it, initially? Oh, one of them. He didn't get the ball either. Coney, Mitrovic has headed back into Kearney's path, and he's been in here. They're coming together. I think that would have been a tough one to give a penalty for that as well, but Kearney's still struggling down inside the 18-yard box. Physio's back on to assess the situation. It's relief, isn't it, from the home support, Nigel? I think they were getting really anxious, you know, because they didn't really see any real signs that they were going to get back into. They weren't really posing too many problems for Steele, the goalkeeper. It was said all along, certainly, down that right-hand side, Fredericks was the player. Ejaria, and we're just seeing a replay of it now. As soon as he went over, he just looked straight at the referee, and it's a huge turning point in the game. I mean, that could easily have been a penalty in the second.
If that was a foul, if the referee thought that was a foul, it's a penalty. It has to be.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's something Chris Coleman will be thinking about as he heads into the dressing room.
Who had the best view? Was it the referee or the assistant who's closest to us, who's looking right across the line there? You know, sometimes they've got to be bold and honest and, you know, get involved in incidents like that and say, yeah, I've seen that flag across the chest, I thought it was a penalty.
Well, Fulham dodged a bullet there, as they did in the home game here against Brentford, when they should have been a goal down at half-time, maybe thanks to a penalty, when Johansson put both hands up to block a free kick inside the penalty area, and Neil Swarbrick, the referee, didn't see that either. Well,
let me tell you, along the way, when you're trying to get promotion and you're in the playoff positions, normally you get the luck. And you just said about Sunderland, they've had no luck. It seems when you're down the bottom, everything goes against you, and that seems to be the case here with Ajari. It looked, on reflection, certainly when his Ream comes out, I don't think there was any real power to try and fly into the tackle from Ream, but his leg was out there. Ajari went over, and it was a big call for the referee and the assistant to make a call on whether they thought it was a penalty or not.
Well, we're still playing in this first half due to the injuries to Tom Kearney and the replacement of target as Adoy takes a chance to bob and weave away from the challenge of Ajaria. It's wide to the far side and Johansson on towards Fredericks again, who was provided much of the attacking width for Fulham and all of the meaningful attacking width in this first half. Kamada once again, who has been used mainly as a replacement in the second half of the season. Now Johansson finding Fredericks again with a low ball into the area straight to John O'Shea.
See, he's done that 2 or 3 times where he's played that ball back and he's just looking at his teammates and saying, what am I supposed to do? Another problem for him walking in there is taking on limping. He's not moving freely either, so you've got him with a problem, you've got Kearney with a problem, you've already had target go off, so the manager's going to have to assess his players at half-time and make sure that they are 100% ready for what's going to come their way in the second half.
Well, after a quiet start to this game, it's been some first half in the end. Joel Osordo giving Sunderland the lead after 29 minutes on his 19th birthday. They then possibly should have had a penalty for a challenge by Ream on Ajaria, but seconds later, Fulham swept upfield. The cross from Fredericks, flapped up by Steele, and Piazon tucked in at the far post. Fulham, though, still need a goal in the second half. At half-time, it's Fulham 1, Sunderland 1. Thank you, Sag. Sunderland making a change at the start of the second half. Billy Jones is the player who is going off, and Adam Matthews will replace him, of course, in the first half. Matt Targett replaced by Boubacar Kamara for Fulham. And there may be a couple of other players carrying knocks as well, as Sunderland will get the second half underway wearing all sky blue, playing towards their supporters who have come in such great numbers considering their position in the Putney end away to our left-hand side, as Fletcher looks to take on Fredericks, and it will be a throw-in to Sunderland. And it's taken quickly into the path of Wilson and played forward by Robson, who had a good first half, and now Fletcher with the shot from the angle down the left, which is blocked by Adoy. And the home side will try and come forward now with Johansson. Scoops it infield to pick out Mitrovic, laid into the path of the charging McDonald, who gathers at pace. He was looking for Sessegnon, but instead he changes the point of the attack with a lovely ball wide towards Kamara, low across the face of goal, laid off towards Kearney. Johansson with the corner, left-footed, got right underneath it and right over the top.
Yeah, decent effort, wasn't he? Just apologising to his teammates. Maybe felt he could have done a little bit better. He was only 20 yards out, but came to him sharply from a layoff there from Kearney. Good build-up play from Fulham initially down the right-hand side. Kamara's got real pace, isn't he? And then there was an opportunity, in the middle of the park. Once again, Nigel, Johansson's turned away from it. He's just got to play into the space. He's got to utilise his pace up against, I would say, not the quickest back four you're ever going to see. And he's reluctant to do it, and the chances are going. We want to get back into it, as we've seen with Fredericks, getting down that side of the field. Kamara can do that as well. That's key for Fulham.
We are sat low right on the halfway line here in the Stevenage Road stand, with the Fulham fans all around us across the field, which is still in wonderful condition here for the final home game of the regular season. We can see Slavica Kanovic, who looks grim-faced at the best of times, the Serb in charge of Fulham. Even though it's been pelting down with rain, he's still standing there in just his suit jacket as Piazon comes in field to find Kearney, and now wide to the left-hand side, and the American Ream. Kearney again, who looked to pick up an injury in the opening moments of the game and was never quite himself for the rest of the first half. It's flicked on by Sessegnon down the left-hand side, but Osordo will pick it up, and now McNair will try and charge far forward for Sunderland. Infield towards the small squat figure of Honeyman, but Sunderland now are heading back towards their own goal with Kone before it's played long downfield by O'Shea. It's cleared away by the home side, but Adam Matthews, the one-time Welsh international who has come on at half-time, will regather for the Black Cats. Now Robson, 21-year-old, was busy in the first half. Honeyman coming in field from the left-hand side. Wilson charging forward on the overlap, but Honeyman looked in field towards Fletcher, who was on the edge of the box, and it was cut out by McDonald. Here is Kenny now for Fulham. 3 minutes played in the second half, and Kenny slips, and I think he's got a problem with his left hip again, and he's come back up holding that area of his anatomy. I'm not too sure the Fulham captain can continue for much longer.
No, it doesn't look that way, does it? But it was just an interesting piece of play there, Nigel. When Mark Wilson went forward from the left back position, Kamara didn't chase back, so it was a 2v1 situation against Fredericks. Fredericks defended it well enough, and then Kamara's hoping to get the ball played into him, so he's free down this the right, the left of Sunderland. It's a gamble, but if it comes off to your advantage, he's off and running, and no one at the back's going to keep pace with him.
Ovie Ejaria, on loan from Liverpool, is now fouled by Ryan Fredericks, and it will be a free kick for Sunderland. High ball into the penalty area from Wilson. Fletcher was the target. Adoy will get there first, and McDonald, after a missed kick, will eventually clear. Mitrovic back in field towards Kamara, who was having his shirt pulled there by Robson, but he's strong enough to scrag himself away from that. He's built like a middleweight boxer, Abubakar Kamara. Very powerful. And now Johansson will bring it forward, looking for Sessegnon to the left-hand side. Sessegnon has to hold his run to stay on side, but here it's Piazon for Fulham, who scored the equaliser right at the end of the first half. Much needed as well for the home side. His 5th goal of the season, a player who spent much of the time in the early part of the campaign on the treatment table following a broken leg at Leeds. Now Sunderland will clear up towards the halfway line, looking for either Ajaria or Fletcher, but the long ball finds neither. Here is Adoy picking out Fredericks down the right-hand side. He's got Honeyman back tracking. Fredericks is shown the inside, tries to flip it infield, looking for Mitrovic. Sunderland will clear, but Fletcher is unable to hold the ball up, and now Ream will bring it forward again and pick out the run of McDonald. Again, Sessegnon holds his run down the left-hand side. Back towards Piazon. Mitrovic holds it up on the edge of the penalty area. Piazon makes the run forward, but the Serb can't link up with the Brazilian on this occasion. Kearney now finding McDonald, and Fulham are having to be very precise and also very patient, because Sunderland have so many sky blue shirts behind the ball. 5 minutes played in the second half. On TalkSport 2, it remains 1-1 at Craven Cottage in a game which Fulham must win. Now Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area holds it off. He finds Kearney, who again checks back in field onto his left foot. Piazza on the edge of the penalty area, bursting in field, and the shot eventually will come in from Kamara, who goes the long way round, shoots low, and it's blocked inside the penalty area by Wilson, and Sunderland escape.
I've got to say, it wasn't particularly good goalkeeping from Steele there. I mean, the strike was right at him, and he sort of palmed it out and it came off. His defender helped him out, but great strength and possession of the ball there from Kamara.
Fredericks now down the right-hand side. Kamara offering his support, but the pass was short, and Wilson will step in to win it back, although Kamara threw a couple of body shapes to try and prevent the ball forward. But Ajaria will now gather for Sunderland. The Fulham team again, Bettinelli in goal. The back four is now Fredericks, Adoy, Ream and Sessegnon. McDonald, Kenny and Johansson, Kamara, Piazon and Mitrovic. The Sunderland team, Steele in goal, Matthews, Kone, O'Shea and Wilson, Robson, McNair and Honeyman in the midfield engine room, with Ajaria on one side, Osordo on the other and Fletcher up top. Osordo scored the opening goal after 28 minutes, equalised on the stroke of half-time by Piazon, although Sunderland should have had a penalty moments before the equalising goal. Kenny very deliberately finds Piazon, who comes in field from the right-hand side. Kamara on the edge of the penalty area, looks to get the free kick. He was tugged down by McNair, and he's won the free kick 20 yards out in the central area.
I think it was Coney this occasion there who's got involved in a few challenges. As I say, he's on a mission tonight. He's just been flying into one challenge after the next, and there, no need. When it was played into the feet of Kamara there, just hold your ground. You know, he's come flying out to put him under pressure. Gave away the free kick, and this is a good area. When you've got the likes of Kearney and Johansson, really good technicians, good ability. The only thing I would say here, guys, looking at the wall, it's quite a big wall, isn't it? Quite tall, isn't it? You know, when you look what's in there, Fletcher's in there, McNair's in there, Wilson. I think that could be Coney. Is it Coney in there as well? I'm just looking at, I think Coney's in the wall as well. So go low or shift it a yard. And Piazza wants to get involved alongside Johansson, so Steele will have to get his wall set up absolutely right here.
Well, Piazon is shaping up for this, but it's a left-footed curler which is fired in by Johansson and gathered by Steele, who readjusted his feet and went early, and it was the right decision.
Yeah, he read it well, the keeper, didn't he? He read it well. I mean, it wasn't right in the corner, it was at a good height. He just moved smartly to his right-hand side, easy take for him.
But Fulham, despite their reprieve on the stroke of half-time, have not come out all guns blazing at the start of the second half.
I think
53 minutes played.
I think there's still a big call with Kearney at the minute, because he's such an influential player for Fulham, and hence the reason why the manager doesn't want to bring him off. But if he's not moving freely and he's just struggling a little bit, would you not rather have someone 100% fit out there?
Well, they don't really have a like-for-like replacement on the bench at the moment due to injury problems elsewhere, as Osordo coming forward with the top knot bobbing on the far side. It's clipped into the penalty area eventually by Matthews and cleared away by Ream at the near post, and it will be a throw in. The other players on the bench, Button, the goalkeeper for Fulham, Cyrus Christie, Thomas Callas, who are both defenders. Then you've got Ollie Norwood, who I suppose would be the one player who could come on and play in that area. Then it's Rue Font, who is very much a striker. Fletcher now tries to hold off Odoi inside the Fulham penalty area, but the home side will clear. But now there's an opportunity for Kone to bring it forward, and he almost slipped Fletcher in down the right-hand side. And again, Fulham make heavy weather of the clearance. Osoro on the far side is eventually challenged by Sessegnon, and it will be a throw into the Black Cats.
Very similar to the first half, when Fulham had a reasonable start, were in control of possession of the ball, and then all of a sudden Sunderland worked their way into it, and that's similar to what's happening at the moment. Sunderland have just grown in confidence in the last minute or so. They'll get a better possession of the ball, and I think if they were to utilise their wide players a little bit more, I think they'll get more joy.
Clearance for Fulham finds Mitrovic 15 yards inside their own half, and he's done well to hold off the challenge and spread the play wide towards this near side. And Fredericks, Kamara makes the run inside to try and create the room for Fredericks. Now Kamara on the edge of the penalty area, but he never quite had control of the ball, and a combination of Matthews and O'Shea will clear the ball away. Now there's an opportunity for Ajaria to come forward down this near side. The Fulham right infield towards McNair. McNair has the pace of Osoro on his outside. Matthews makes the run on the overlap, but Osoro chooses to come in field once again. A left-footed shot from him trundles wide of the near post.
Look at Honeyman at the back post, free if you like. On that occasion, they've been caught out ball watching there between Odoi and Fredericks. They hadn't a clue where Honeyman was, and made a good run in from this left-hand side. And all he had to do, Osoro, was just lift it into that area of the field, and he took the shot with his left foot there, never troubled the goalkeeper at all.
Kenny with the ball down the line, right-hand side, looking for Kamara, who is quick, and he's got there and managed to keep the ball in play. Kamara cuts it back low, and it's cleared away inside the penalty area, initially by Honeyman, but now Kenny will gather for Sunderland. Back towards McDonald on the edge of the penalty area. There's an opportunity for Mitrovic to bring the ball in field. He finds Johansson, and the shot is fired in the end from the edge of the penalty area, and it's turned aside. Mitrovic with the effort, and Steele with a fine save.
Yeah, well, a couple of times there that Fulham have got down the right-hand side. Just that final ball, and on this occasion it was Kamara just tried to square it, pick out his teammate. No one there. Fire it rolling hard. You might even get deflection into the goal. Mitrovic had taken up a position at the far post. Eventually they worked it through the left-hand side into Mitrovic, took the shot on. It was a good save from Steele.
Now Mitrovic inside the penalty area was well found by Piazon, but he just miscontrolled at the crucial moment, and Sunderland smuggled the ball away.
Yeah, good spell with this in the last couple of opportunities for Fulham. You can hear the home support getting behind their team.
57 minutes played, 1-1 at Craven Cottage on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL, in a game that Fulham really need to win. If they draw, they will be level on points with Cardiff, and Cardiff, of course, will have their game against Hull tomorrow, but Fulham have marginally a better goal difference, so of course they need to win. Here is Johansson now, down the left-hand side, swings it into the penalty area, flicked on by Sessegnon. Kamara will get there before the challenge of Honeyman, and he's played it back towards Fredericks, who can burst into the penalty area, cross it into the box, is cleared away by O'Shea. And now it's laid wide by McDonald again to pick out Kamara. It's his cross, which is met by O'Shea once again, but he doesn't clear the penalty area. Johansson will challenge, but McNair will hook the ball clear. It's chested down by Ream to find McDonald, and it spins away off the Scot, out of play on the far side for a throw into Sunderland.
I think they'll be disappointed, Fulham, with the delivery in that final third. They've got into some great areas, but they'll try to cut the ball back when there's no one there. And when Fredericks went bursting through from this right back position, why did he chip it in the air to Mitrovic? He just laid it in his feet on the floor. I mean, I said to you before, Nigel, great energy about the kid. Gets up and down this right hand side like you can't believe. Genuine pace to get in behind, but he's got to sort out his final ball. Far too often he's too wasteful.
58.5 minutes played. Fulham enjoying a good spell. 1-1 at Craven Cottage. Fredericks finding Kamara once again, who steps away from the challenge, a Sunderland player who slips, and it's laid back, and the curler from Kenny is wide in the end.
Yeah, it was better play, was down the right hand side again. Camera involved, played it to the edge of the box. Johansson with the layup into the path of Tom Kearney. He's on his favourite left foot, and once again he's went for safety with the curler. Never troubled stealing the goal at all. Always looked like it was good, a good 2-3 yards wide of the target. It's been a better spell for Fulham, isn't it? You know, Sunderland had a little goal for a couple of minutes where they were looking more comfortable. They've got to get more out of Fletcher. I mean, you look at the size of him. He's a physical specimen. He's quite quick. I don't know what he's good at, though. You know, I've been watching him. He doesn't really pick up positions, doesn't dominate the centre half that he's playing against, and he's always pointing where the ball should go rather than him trying to get involved in it. He's got to offer a lot more than he is at the moment. He's going to have a career. You know, he's got to show the talent he's got and the reasons why certain clubs picked him up.
Free kick for Sunderland. Foul on Honeyman by Fredericks. And it's a run towards this near side by Paddy McNair, and now Honeyman will try and burst into the area. Adoy seemed to be on the wrong side but made the challenge, but here is Honeyman again with a low curling shot right-footed from the edge of the area, which was gathered comfortably by Bettinelli. Well, Ashley Fletcher was bought by Middlesbrough at the start of the season for £6.5 million from West Ham, but they very quickly shipped him out on loan. Mitrovic with the ball infield towards Kenny, and his first time ball wide to the right hand side, almost found Camara, but George Honeyman did just enough to divert the ball behind for a corner.
What a touch this is from Honeyman, because he was in. They built that up well. Fulham 1 and 2 touch. Camara made the good run in behind. Wilson was caught out of position, and Honeyman getting back just got the merest of touches on it to take out for a corner for Fulham.
The Fulham corner in towards the near post area. O'Shea is there again. Johansson nods it back into the penalty area. Then it's Kone who rises. Kenny regathers on the edge of the penalty area. Was he caught? Yes, he was, by McNair as he tried a Cruyff turn 25 yards out, and it's a free kick. And Ashley Fletcher is the player who was booked for dissent.
Yeah, dissent there. He's not happy with the decision. I think he had a word with the referee there. Paddy McNair wasn't happy with the call from the referee either for the free kick. He felt that Kearney, in doing the little drag back, just fell over. A chance here. Mitrovic wants to get involved in this free kick. We've just seen Johansson from the opposite side of the field with his left foot try to curl it in the far corner. Easy save for stealing the goal. Just see from this with Piazon involved as well, who's going to be the actual player that takes the responsibility. I mean, look at Fredericks. Look at Fredericks now coming over this right hand side. Honeyman's the one who's maybe keep his eye on him.
But it's flipped in, and it's flipped wide by Piazon, right footed.
Nowhere near the target. Actually, it's pretty poor effort really. And he's looking around to say, you know, well, what's going on, but that's never going to trouble the goalkeeper. It's going a good 5 yards wide. 5 yards wide.
61 minutes played. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1 in the penultimate week of the regular season. On TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL, and now Jason Steele has been booked for time wasting.
Yeah, he went to take the goal kick from the opposite side of the goal, slowed it down. Fulham fans were on to him. The Fulham manager was screaming from his technical area as well, and Steele thought he was going to get away with that, but the referee straight away up and gave him a yellow card, so he can't afford to take his time any longer from situations like that.
Sessignon clears long downfield. Boomed straight back though by Kone. Fletcher is now fouled by Ream in an aerial challenge, and it will be a free kick for Sunderland. Don't forget, tomorrow, Matchday Live with Adrian Durham. All the goals as they go in on TalkSport. Here on TalkSport 2, Palace against Leicester is the Premier League commentary at 3. Over on TalkSport at 5:30, it is Swansea against Chelsea, followed by the full-time phone-in. And on Sunday, Sags will have the Sunday exclusive live from the London Stadium. It is West Ham against Manchester City. The Sunderland free kick is high into the area. Mitrovic jumps with O'Shea, wins the header, but then appeals to say he was fouled, but the referee, Peter Banks, not interested. Wilson now clips it down the line on this near side, looking for Ajaria, who evades the challenge of McDonald initially, then skips away from Piazon, back towards a shot which is whizzed in from Robson and just too high.
Yeah, the goalkeeper had it covered though. Bettinelli just took his hand away at the last moment there, knowing it was going over the top of the crossbar.
Well, we saw Bettinelli do this last week. He's taken a goal kick there, and the ball didn't leave the penalty area, so the law says he has to take it again. And I think that's a silly law, because it should be a free kick to the opposition. If you're not intelligent enough to clear the own penalty area. Anyway, he takes it and he gives it straight to Wilson. Here is Robson, finding McNair. And now Ajaria, back towards Wilson again. Honeyman just has to come back to stay onside, down the Sunderland left. And it's a poor ball in field though, cut back and cut out by Mitrovic, who finds Kamara, and now Mitrovic works it wide to the far side, looking for Sessegnon, but Osordo was alert to the danger and uses his speed to come in ahead of Sessegnon, who has rather been a passenger so far in the second half.
Yeah, I've got to also say with Mitrovic there, he didn't get his head up, because Johansson made a great run down the right hand side, which was the easy ball to pick him out, and he went for the more difficult one. We call it a blind ball, when you're passing out to an area where you think someone's going to be, rather than the one that you should have seen, which was the forward pass to Johansson.
Bream does well to Rob Fletcher inside the area, and now there's an opportunity for Fulham to break it. Johansson squared towards Kearney, midway inside the Sunderland half. The pace of the pass just forcing him to check back, but now Fredericks down the right hand side has Kamara on his outside. Fredericks though cuts it back straight towards O'Shea, and eventually Wilson will clear for Sunderland. But you mentioned it previously, Johansson does have this habit of turning away from the option.
Yeah, but not only that, Fredericks there, him and Kamara now, that's 4 occasions they've tried to pull the ball back, nothing's came out. The one that they fired across the face of the goal and still got the touch on it, Piazon finishes it off because they put it into a dangerous area. There the Sunderland players can read what they're going to do. They know they're going to cut it back, so they're just waiting for them to do it, and then they step out and win control of it.
Johansson almost played in Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area. Sunderland living rather dangerously at times, as Honeyman seemed to have lost out there due to brute strength as Kamara won it back, but the referee has given a free kick to the Black Cats.
Well, just look, we're in the 66th minute, so they've still got plenty of time for them to get back in it. But I can tell now the anxiety around the stadium, it's just increasing and increasing as it goes on. That feeling of what happens if we make a mistake, and this is only going to play into the hands of Sunderland, because Sunderland have got nothing to lose now. They're down, doesn't matter to them. The whole onus now is on Fulham to get this winner. One thing they can't afford to do, Nigel, is lose this. So they've got to still keep their discipline, as well as trying to get a goal, make sure that they're nice and safe at the back.
Kearney now works it wide towards Fredericks, who's got space and room down this near side, the right. He comes in field towards the edge of the penalty area. It's still Fredericks. The left-footed shot is blocked, headed away at the far post by O'Shea. Now Sessegnon back towards Kearney again. McDonald on the edge of the penalty area. They're looking to overload here. Piazon back onto his right foot. Now McDonald again thinks about the right foot shot, and he got right underneath it, and it's high into the Hammersmith end.
See, when you play with Piazon on the left, how we want to always come back onto his right side, not confident enough to take on Matthews, little step over and then go to the byline with his left foot, then fire it across the face of the goal. Safety option back to McDonald, too many touches, and then when he went to take the shot on, just got too much height and took over the crossbar. Just look at the faces of the bench over where Fulham are at the moment. They're in consultation, the coach and the manager at the minute, because they're thinking, right, what do we do now? Do we go for broke? Are we looking to get the second goal, or are we happy enough we're 1-1? What's our choices here?
Sessegnon does well to win it back from Osordo, and now he can charge forward with pace and strength down the left-hand side. Looks to feed Mitrovic. His first touch just forcing him wide, and all he can do is slide in to prevent a goal kick, and it's a throw into Sunderland by the corner flag on the far side. As things stand in the table, Fulham are second on 86 points. Cardiff have the same number of points, but Fulham have a superior goal difference. They have 6 goals more in that column compared to Cardiff. So if Fulham don't win this game, they'd really be relying on Hull beating Cardiff tomorrow to keep them on course for the Premier League. Fredericks now down the right hand side, goes beyond Wilson, but Wilson's played him quite well at times in the second half, and just ensures that the cross is guided into the side netting, and it's a goal kick.
I thought it was we're quite away from him. We've got big posts right in our line of vision there, so it's very difficult to tell who got the last touch on it. But as he was taking on Wilson, I don't think there was a space to do it. He tried to play it in. No, he didn't. He just mistimed the ball in there and went harmlessly out for a goal kick. maybe even change your tactics and throw Camera up front alongside Mitrovic. See if you can throw a few balls up there. Mitrovic gets a flick on and utilise Camera's pace in behind the likes of John O'Shea. Even bring Kearney over here to the right hand side of a 4. Go to your 4-4-2. Just try and freshen things up, do something a little bit different.
Majaria is flagged offside, midway inside the Fulham half. It's a big week coming up in Europe next week, and TalkSport has commentary on all 3 of the major European ties. Real against Bayern on Tuesday, Roma against Liverpool on Wednesday, and then of course Atletico Madrid against Arsenal in the Europa League on Thursday, with Brighton against Manchester United in the Premier League coming up this time next week. And the following week the Championship playoffs will start with the first semi-final, first leg, and all of the Championship playoff games will be on TalkSport. And we will have coverage of every single semi-final and the 3 finals across the bank holiday weekend, live across the TalkSport network. Piazza clips it forward, looking for Kone. The Ivorian nods away, but only as far as Sessegnon, and Asoro had hold of his shirt there as he looked to try and win the ball back, but eventually Sunderland do have a throw-in on the far side.
He's not really affected the game tonight, is he, Sessegnon?
Doesn't look fit.
Well, I'm not sure it's just that. It's a big game for a 17-year-old as well. You know, he's been in fantastic form, but there are occasions he's not going to play well, and tonight he's not really showed the talent that he's got. Where they've been much more productive is down this right-hand side, isn't it, with Frederick? Just his final ball he's got to sort out.
Wilson threads it forward towards Fletcher for Sunderland on the edge of the penalty area, and he's done well to work it wide towards the right. And Asora, his cross though, is charged down, appeals for handball from the Sunderland fans behind the goal, but they do have a corner.
Well, it came off Piazza, who's turned away, I've got to tell you. I mean, we're quite a distance away from the actual incident, but when the ball played in, it came off his head. He turned his back on it, came off his head. I mean, the fans behind the goal are closer to it than us, just shouting up in arms for a penalty, and more than hope than anything else. But chance here from this corner with Robson about to take it.
Ethan Robson will take the corner, an in-swinger onto the chest of Ream, and now Fulham will try and clear and break with the pace of Sessegnon over the halfway line left-hand side. Piazon is the only player ahead of him, so Sessegnon holds on to it, almost gives it back towards Robson, and he's rescued by McDonald, who will come forward now for Fulham. And it's a good ball wide towards the right-hand side, and Fredericks cut back towards Kenny. Kenny's left-footed corner, just wide.
That was the chance, Nigel, wasn't it? That really was the chance, and I've got to say there was a break initially down the left from Sessegnon, but Asoro kept pace with him. So he didn't have the ability, the pace to get beyond him. Turned back and they've come out to this right hand side. Fredericks with the ball played into Kearney, and he just opened his body up. Good touch with his left foot, got it out his feet, and he tried to curl it in the far corner and just got too much on it as he went wide of the target. But you can tell by his reaction he knew that was a definite chance for Fulham.
18 and a half minutes to play on TalkSport 2, 1-1. Sunderland have dropped 9 points from winning positions in the final 20 minutes of their last 4 games. This is when they do become vulnerable. Asoro on the far side, the right, will try and take on Sessegnon, who just holds him up and does well to win it back and clears up towards the halfway line. Mitrovic holds it up back towards Piazon, who rather awkwardly clips it down the line. Johansson will chase, but Kone will get there first, and the back pass goes in towards his goalkeeper Steele, who right-footed clears downfield again. And the ball spins off Sessegnon.
What is he thinking about? I think
straight for a throw-in.
Well, I think Sessegnon thought Asoro was offside, so he's just harmlessly let the ball come off his foot, and it's gone out for a throw-in to Sunderland. Rui
Font is preparing to come on for Fulham, and he is a striker, but he's been mainly used as a replacement for much of the season. Portuguese player. He basically was left out of the side to accommodate Mitrovic.
Well, interesting to see what the tactic is. Is it light for light? And Mitrovic hasn't had a great deal to offer in this game. It's been one of his low-key games for Fulham this season. He's been such a key player for him and not really been involved. And whether you go with, I said to you, maybe just change the style and the shape of the team, go with a second striker.
Well, it's a throw in to Sunderland on the far side, which may give them the opportunity to make the change, and it's Piazon who is coming off, the man who scored the Fulham goal just before half-time. And Rui Font will come on to replace him. Only 3 goals this season for the man signed from Braga.
Well, he's gone over to that left-hand side. It's just like for like position-wise, isn't it? Rather than maybe changing the shape and going with a second striker.
He rather highlights the lack of options available to Slavisa Kanovic beneath the starting 11, which is why he's been unchanged so often so recently.
Well, I mean, there's ways it means you can change it. You go to your diamond formation, play McDonald just in front of the 2 centre-halves. You could play Kearney and Johansson either side of it. You could play Camara at the head of the diamond, and then that would free up Fredericks and Sessegnon to get forward. There's many ways to try and impose yourself on the game. Maybe he just feels that one thing he doesn't want to do, Nigel, is lose it. Lose it, you're out of it. Now, even if you get a draw with a better goal difference, Hull might do them a favour by beating Cardiff tomorrow, and then it's still in their hands with that last game against Birmingham.
Fredericks coming forward now down the right-hand side. Kamara was caught by Wilson about 20 yards from goal.
That should be a yellow card. That's a challenge from behind. I mean, that was outlawed quite a few years ago, wasn't it?
And Kamara did not appreciate it from Mark Wilson.
Well, I wouldn't either. I mean, he played into him. I think I'm not sure he tried to hurt him there. I think he just slipped, and he was committed to the challenge, and certainly calm, and just an apology there from Wilson. Little handshake between the 2 players, which was nice to see.
15 minutes to play. Fulham 1, Sunderland 1 on TalkSport 2. And Fulham needing the goal to put the pressure right back on Cardiff. Johansson's free kick flighted high towards the far post, nodded down, and it's there! Mitrovic has done it yet again! Alexander Mitrovic with a crucial goal for Fulham, and now the pressure has been piled back on Cardiff. Fulham are doing what they need to do. It's not been pretty, but Mitrovic has come up trumps once again. Fulham 2, Sunderland 1.
I don't see the Cottage has gone absolutely crazy. Was he offside? I don't see when the ball's played, he looks like he's in an offside position. Flag didn't go up. Really good header. I think it was Fletcher that could have been closest to Mitrovic at the back post. He looked like he was offside. For the assistant might not have had a clear view, and I'll tell you why. Because Camara went early. He was offside, but wasn't interfering with play. I don't think the assistant had a clear view of the run from Mitrovic, and he started in position. Flag didn't go up. What did we say about a bit of good fortune? It always favours the teams at the top of the league, never the teams at the bottom. And for a player who's really been on the periphery of the game, once again he's came up with a massive goal for Fulham.
But you also make your own luck, and if you play well enough, things go for you.
Yeah, it can do at times. I mean, it came from Wilson, giving away a free kick, probably when there's no need to do so. Johansson with a flighted ball into the far post, and you've got to go and attack it. You want it more in the opposition. Fletcher, I think he was the closest to him. But ball watching, he's not seen that Mitrovic is running behind him. He should be goal side of him, getting his body into him, making sure he didn't get a free header. And as he headed it down, it skipped off the turf into the back of the end, and nothing you could say about Steele there. I don't think the goalkeeper had a real chance for that.
And yet again, Sunderland are shipping points in a match in which they've taken the lead, and it could get worse very quickly here. Johansson coming forward, looking for Rui Font, who chases into the penalty area, but he never looked as though he was going to get there before Matthews, who slid in, and the ball squirts back towards the goalkeeper Jason Steele.
Well, this is a test for Sunderland now, isn't it? Their desire, determination, having taken the lead in this game. We said about Fulham had taken the lead in 15 games in a row prior to this and came out without a loss. Now they've had to do it the hard way, and they've been good enough so far to get themselves through this 2-1 advantage. And it's just whether now Sunderland have got the wherewithal about them to try and get back into it.
But if Sunderland lose this game, they will have shipped 28 points from winning positions this season, which is incredible.
I just got on a tackle him from one of the chaps behind me that's coming through. Just got in there first.
Yeah, but it'll be in your little black book for later.
No, I got him. He was all right. It was okay.
12 minutes to play. Fulham 2, Sunderland 1. Fulham have looked nothing like promotion contenders for much of this game, but at this stage of the season it is all about getting the job done, and that is what they are doing at the moment. Ream steps in before Asoro, clears long downfield. Kone rises before Mitrovic, but it's headed back over the top again by Font, and it's flicked on towards Kamara. O'Shea, though, will just return it with interest over the top, looking for the run of Fletcher. Callum McManaman was preparing to come on before the goal, and in fact he did come on in the aftermath of the goal as well.
Yeah, I think Ajari has gone on, just looking around the pitch at the moment.
Now Mitrovic shrugs off the challenge of Kone on the far side. Kone bites back with a challenge, but Mitrovic holds on to it. He was caught by Kone. Here is Johansson now on the edge of the penalty area. Kearney looking to open out the play. The option to the right is Fredericks. Fredericks now has managed to isolate McManaman. It's it back in field towards Kamara again, who sweeps it to the left, and Sessegnon takes the ball in stride, bursts into the penalty area, drives it low across the face of goal. It's cleared away as far as Font, square towards Kearney again. Now Johansson low into the area looking for Mitrovic, and Johansson continues his run, but Mitrovic can't find him, and Honeyman can bring the ball clear for Sunderland, but he showed far too much of that to McDonald, who in the midst of Sunderland's difficult spells this evening has just kept them ticking over by winning the ball and keeping it simple, and he's been caught by Honeyman on the far side, and it will be a free kick to Fulham.
Yeah, really good play from McDonald, read the situation well, really strong in possession. Honeyman came back. I'm not sure he done an awful lot wrong there. As soon as he failed to touch on him there, McDonald just went over, just buying the free kick. Referee duly obliged by giving that free kick. But you see Mitrovic all of a sudden has really livened up. His hold-up play in the last few minutes has been excellent. How strong in possession up against Kone there. You know, he just held him off, no bother at all, and then brought his teammates into the game. That's what I'm sure the manager was looking for, a lot more in this match from him.
Well, it's 12 goals now for Aleksandar Mitrovic since arriving at the end of January. He is a man who has transformed Fulham's season, and he's come up with some very important ones, late winners as well. Kamara now with a burst of pace forward towards the edge of the penalty area, but he just runs into McNair, but he's strong enough to win it back, and then Kamara himself was fouled by McManaman. McManaman then buzzes into Font, and it will be a free kick to Fulham again, just outside the D on the edge of the penalty area.
When Kamara picks up, I'm not sure he knows where he's going to go, which there must be a problem for the opposition, because if he doesn't know, how are they supposed to know either? The one thing is his game. Two, he never gives up, does he? You know, there he could easily have just run into the player and said, right, not for me. Got back up, got onto it, and McManaman came out and gave away the free kick for the challenge on him.
And the ball boy, who looks about 7 years old, gets warm applause from the Stevenage Road stand as he boots the ball back into play, and it's a Fulham free kick, only about 19 yards from goal, maybe slightly further out than that, and Kearney's over the ball again, so too is Mitrovic.
Johansson's the one, he wants us. Yeah. Now that Piazza's gone off, because he took the last one, didn't he, and it was a poor effort from him, and went 5 yards or so wide of the target. He's got the ability to do this. I mean, he had a sighter earlier, didn't he, where he sort of telegraphed where he was going and still made the save. He's got a chance here, maybe reverse into the far corner.
Johansson over the free kick, and he curls it left-footed. Oh, what a save! What a save by Jason Steele. He did really well to get across to his left-hand side and claw that one out.
Well, he did, but I was just saying about reversing it over the top of the wall. Keeper got across his left-hand side. He wasn't sure if it was going in or not. I think he might have just gone maybe just wide of the target only by inches, but the keeper did the right thing to keep it out.
And Steele is now having a word with the referee, Peter Banks, as one or two Fulham fans in front of us begin to leave. How can you leave in a game like this? With 7.5 minutes to play, and you're 2-1 up in a game you need to win right at the end of the season. Why pay the money? Corners work short towards Kearney. Sorry, really gets my
calm down, calm down. Enjoy the game with remaining of it.
We're staying. Fredericks back towards Ream again. McManaman kicked out at him there as Ream went beyond him, and it's back towards Fredericks again. Now a dummy from Johansson may release Kamara. Fredericks tells him to hold on to it. Kamara comes in field. And although he came on due to an injury, Camaras's made a difference to Fulham. He's given them a bit more mobility and another option coming down the right-hand side. Now Sessegnon. McDonald swings it into the penalty area. Mitrovic was off and running in pursuit, but Kone got there first.
Well, I've got to say, you said about the influence that Camara's had, but there's not been a bigger influence, I think, in the last few months than Mitrovic. As I said, he's probably had one of his weakest games for Fulham tonight, but he could be the match winner, and that's why he's been brought to the club. You know, he gives you something a little bit different.
And he's onside now, down the left-hand side. He's got Kamara in field, and waiting at the far post was Johansson. It was the right sort of ball, which is hooked away by Wilson, and Sunderland will try and clear. And it's a long ball up towards the halfway line, looking for Fletcher, which is just guided into touch by Ream. It's going to be a throw-in, which the Black Cats will take quickly. 6 minutes to play at Craven Cottage on TalkSport 2. Big moments in Fulham's season, leading here, but under pressure as Asoro comes forward. Adoy had to time that right on the edge of the penalty area, and did. And now a tiring Sunderland watch Fulham coming forward on the break. Kenny looks to find Kamara, but he telegraphed the pass, and Wilson saw it coming.
You know, when Asoro went forward there, once again, it's just about getting your head up, seeing players in a better position yourself. Carlin McMenamin was free as you like over the side, because if Fredericks had gone in tight with Adoy was the one who made the challenge on Asoro when he won the ball, but Fredericks had gone in, and there was so much room to pick out McManaman over this side. It was an easy ball to do it. Never got his head up once to have a look.
Sunderland are making another change, and it's Josh Meyer who is coming on, the man who scored the winning goal when Fulham were beaten at the Stadium of Light back on the 16th of December. They're heading for their 23rd match without defeat in the Championship, and it's Ethan Robson who has gone off, and I thought he's done well.
Yeah, he's done okay. The manager wants to just try and maybe go with a much more attack-minded player to try and get themselves back into it. I mean, when you think about it, Nigel, a 46-game season, to be beaten in 23, half a season unbeaten, it's pretty good from Fulham's point of view, and they're still not guaranteed automatic promotion.
And only 3 teams in the history of the game have gone 20 or more games unbeaten in the second tier and not finished in the top 2. And one of those was Brighton a couple of years ago, when they were pipped by Sunderland, Preston and Blackburn the others. And if Sunderland do lose this game, they will finish bottom of the table, and they'll be the first side since Wolves in the mid-1980s to finish bottom of both the first and second divisions.
Look, what will still be, I think, fresh in Fulham's mind is, you know, the 1-0 draw here with Brentford. 1-0 up with 15 seconds to go, and they, you know, gave away that goal, and how important that was. Tonight, you know, they're going to have to keep their discipline. They have to keep the professionalism now. It's not always about going and getting a third goal. Now it's to see the game out at 2-1. Make sure you're strong enough mentally to do that. And that means the likes of, we've just seen Johansson running forward, Kearney and McDonald will sit, but them 3 should just be in there. A nice shield, be nice and solid. Don't give any encouragement to this Sunderland side to get an equalising goal.
3.5 minutes to play. Fulham lead by 2 goals to 1. They have been nothing close to their free-flowing best this evening, but they are putting Cardiff in a situation where they have to win tomorrow at Hull. Birmingham away is the final game for Fulham. Cardiff, of course, will welcome Reading. As Sunderland give the ball away again, here is Mitrovic, looks to play in Kearney, but the pass was cut out, and maybe Mitrovic should just have calmed things down there with 3 minutes to play.
Just play it into the channel. He's going for that threaded ball through for Kearney, and the simpler ball was out wide to Kamara.
McManaman with a cross into the penalty area. Sessegnon heads it down into his own penalty area, and Honeyman, in his eagerness to fasten onto the ball, has fouled Font, but Ryan Sessegnon learning a lesson there.
See what I'm saying about naivety? That's why I don't think he's going to make a left back to me. Situations like that, I know he's young, but when you're going to head a ball clear, you go for height and distance, so you get it as high as you can, because again you can get your shape back. He's just headed it straight into the middle of the pitch there, and that could have been a real problem for Fulham.
We're just watching a replay again of the goal, and there's no doubt that Mitrovic was offside.
That's what I'm saying, he's starting, but it's that tight. And I'll go back to Kamara, made an early run, Nigel, and I think he run right in front of the assistant. I'm not trying to give him an excuse here, the assistant, in fairness, because that's his job to make sure he can see where the last defender is and see if the attackers have gone ahead of the last defender. And that's the bit of good fortune you need if you want to get promoted.
And it's the same assistant referee who was closest to the action when Sunderland thought they should have had a penalty at 1-0.
Yeah, when Jaria went down.
Yeah.
Problem here for Mitrovic. I think there was a coming together with him and Coney. I think he might have been when they went up for a header there. Long ball played downfield. Yeah, he just sort of nudged him out. I think it was the way he landed more than anything.
Well, Mitrovic is still down, and Peter Banks, the referee, is saying if he wants treatment, he needs to go off. Kenny's done well to last the pace, considering the problems he had in the first half as well. And we are ticking towards the 90th minute here. Mitrovic is back on his feet.
Looks like Fulham are going to make another substitution. Probably a defender coming on. I don't like this. I've got to be honest with you. I don't like this.
Cyrus Christie's coming on.
No, it's not. I think it's Callison might be coming on. You go with a third centre half, and then what you're trying to do is all you're doing is giving encouragement to the opposition. To me, I don't always like this. It can work in your favour. I've seen it go against teams recently. It's not always a good thing to do.
And it's Kearney who was coming off.
Tom Kearney.
Well, they made a defensive change very late against Brentford, and they ended up conceding in the final 5 seconds of added time. Kearney passes on the armband to Kevin McDonald, who at times has almost been playing as a third central defender anyway.
Well, he has been a little bit deeper, but I just feel that, bringing on, it's Callison coming on. I'm trying to look across the field to see the number that's gone up with Tom Kearney going off. I mean, he don't really last as long as he had, Kearney, with the injury that he's obviously had from the second minute of the game when he first went down. So Callis will go into the centre half, and all they'll do now, if I was Sunderland, I would just keep lumping balls into the box and see if he can win the second ball and get an opportunity that way.
4 minutes of added time. We are into those now. A long throw into the penalty area for Sunderland. It's hooked away by Mitrovic. Kamara will strain every sinew to try and keep the ball in play on this near side. He almost ends up in the front row of the stand in his eagerness to do so, and then he puts Wilson off a quick throw-in.
Do you know when Mitrovic first cleared that, if Kamara went straight away, he might have kept that in, but he sort of hesitated and they thought, I might get there, and he's just too late. Try to chase it down. I think if he went a little bit early, anticipated it, there was an opportunity to get him higher down the field.
Played long downfield by Coney, nodded away by Fredericks, and hooked clear by McDonald over the top. Johansson will chase, but Coney again will nod it back towards Steele. Fulham leading here by 2-1, going 2 points clear of Cardiff, and they will have only a single game to play. Cardiff at Hull tomorrow. The Sunderland try and build again. It's clipped high into the penalty area. Meyer was the player who tried to burst forward, and now Bettinelli by the corner flag just booms it long downfield. Headed forward again by Wilson. McManaman now is caught by McDonald. McDonald fuming about the decision, and it's a free kick for Sunderland.
Round there. You don't have to go and win the ball. McManaman's facing his own goal. He's under pressure. All he's got to try and do is lay the ball off to one of his teammates. You go and bundle him over, and then they give possession back to Sunderland. And Honeyman's just played the ball over the top, trying to pick out a Sorrow, floats it straight out for a goal. But there was a ball just played in earlier from Sunderland. Callis headed the ball out, and because they're playing like a back five, there's 5 players going back. McDonald's coming back, makes 6. So when Callis heads it out, there's an overload in the middle of the park for Sunderland, and they pick it up. That's why I don't like that tactic, because I think you've got so many players behind the ball. You give it away, they can come on and maybe get forward and get a shot at goal that way. It's a bit of a gamble for me. For Fulham, it's a big 3 minutes. Bettinelli going to get a yellow card for time wasting. Well, at least he's consistent there.
Both goalkeepers have been
Steele
done
got booked for doing something similar.
And now Kit Simons, of course, a Fulham legend, now one of Chris Coleman's coaching team, is having a long animated conversation with Slavica Kanovic, and I don't think they're discussing the wine afterwards. Cleared downfield now by Odoi, looking for Kamara, who was all over Wilson's back, and it will be a free kick.
See, once again there, no need. Wilson's under real problems. He's let the ball bounce, he's facing his own goal. Mitrovic has gone down, he looks like he's got a problem. A bit of cramp. Yeah, a bit of cramp.
And Mitrovic getting back to his feet very quickly.
And used up all the substitutes, didn't they?
Yeah.
Callis coming on, Kamara come on, and Font.
Well, now the referee's telling him to go off and have treatment.
What, he go off? What's he doing?
Yeah, if he doesn't go off, he'll be sent off.
He's just been pointed to where you got to go.
If you go down looking for treatment, the referee says you can have it, you then can't get up, because clearly he thought he could...
If I was him, I'd be getting off quickly.
Yeah.
No. Unless the referee's waiting for me to go off, I wouldn't wait either.
As soon as he goes off, he can come back on again.
A bit of a nonsense, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
While he's waiting, he'll let him back on.
Steele clears downfield. Sunderland playing on with 10 men, and now he's waved back on as Sacchinon plays it forward, and Mitrovic from the advanced position almost had an opportunity to pick that loose ball up and bear down on the Sunderland goal. Now Font has options inside. The early ball is floated in. Kamara, though, will be forced to chase towards this right-hand side to try and keep the ball in play, which he's done so, and then Wilson slides in, and it's a throw into Sunderland by the corner flag, and they have got, or Fulham have got Sunderland exactly where they want.
Absolutely, and Font with the ball over the top. He done the right thing. He took the back line out of the equation. He's played into an area. Even if he goes out for a throw-in, I mean, they're still 90 yards away from, your own goal. So it was the right thing to do. Kamara's done well to keep it alive over on that right-hand side. Now they can just run the clock down here, Fulham.
Fredericks with a cross into the penalty area, and he's found Mitrovic, and Mitrovic now looking for the space to shoot. Looks to burrow his way through, and in the end, McNair will clear. Everybody on their feet in the Stevenage Road stand now, watching the closing seconds of this game. Wilson infield towards McNair. Now McManaman. Johansson came in with an all-or-nothing challenge, and then McNair body checks him off the ball. Johansson has gone down, and what will the referee do here?
Well, there's all sorts going on. Saying that there's one or two of the Sunderland players getting involved here. It's just an absolute nonsense.
Wilson and Kamara were coming together. Kone is trying to drag Johansson up, and the reason Johansson went down was because he was body checked off the ball by Paddy McNair.
Yeah, but you're right, but who started it? Johansson, who went flying into your challenge, and he was lucky he missed the Sunderland player. So it's him that instigates it, and then the others get really wound up because it was if he had caught the Sunderland player, I'm telling you, it would have been an awful challenge. That's why they were unhappy, and that's why you get the reaction from McManaman and from McNair. Shouldn't have done it. Then they're coming together between Kamara and Wilson, and then Coney got involved, and then the referees just put two players,
Kamara and McManaman,
so far, and I think Johansson's got to get a yellow card for his part in it as well.
Well, Johansson is very quickly leaving the scene. O'Shea has head in hands at the decision, and it's a free kick, and there's no ball. We've gone way beyond the 4 minutes of added time here, and eventually they found a replacement ball, which is very gently bowled out by the Sunderland officials towards this near side. Steele will take the free kick, miles away from where the offence actually happened. Steele clears it downfield. Fulham need to stand firm here, but there goes the full-time whistle, and Fulham have done what they needed to do. It has not been pretty, but they have eked out a 2-1 win over relegated Sunderland, and now Cardiff must win at Hull tomorrow to keep matters in their own hands. It's been a night when Fulham have had to dig really deep, and the value of Alexander Mitrovic shown to their side once again. Sunderland gave a decent account of themselves, but of course they do what they always do. They scored first and then lost, and now it is over to Cardiff at Hull tomorrow. Fulham 2, Sunderland 1.